We doing math today. Ain't got time for no games. We doing math today. All work and no play. We doing math today.
Hey guys, your favorite math teacher here. You're going to see where you're going to be asked to rewrite each expression using radicals. Here is my question. Where is the radical? Well, if you look at my 4 examples here, we don't have a radical, so we have to kind of put it back there. Zoom in here. So remember here, m to the 7th, and then I put my index, that 4 becomes your root or your index. And so this would be my answer. And notice now we do have a radical. Let's go ahead and try this one over here. Again, I have k, the numerator is inside the radical sign, and the denominator is the index or the root. Again, you wouldn't write k to the first power. This is a little bit cleaner, and this would be your answer. Let's try this one over here. Same thing, you have y to the 9th power. That numerator, that 9, the top part of the fraction is right there as its exponent, and then that 2 is the root. Now, again, you wouldn't have to write that one, so this one is a little bit cleaner. All right, let's try something a little bit more difficult. Look at this one. I have fractions that don't have the same common denominator. So again, these have to be the same. So how do you do that? Well, if I multiply this one by 2 over 2, multiply across, you'll get, oh, just kidding, wrong one. Let's try that again. This one I multiply by 2 over 2, you're gonna get 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. So you're gonna get b to the 2/4 power, okay? And then over here on this other side, this one will stay now the same. a1 to the 4th power. And basically what you have here now is, again, a1, and the radical, the index is that 4 here. Now this one also has a 4, so now it can stay inside this radicand. So I have b to the 2nd power goes here. And you can clean that up if you wanted to, so you don't have to write that 1, so you have this as your answer. So again, the question is, rewrite each expression using radicals. My question is, where's the radical? So you're gonna have to go back to the radical form. And that's the introductory to B0. Hey guys, let's go over the B problem set. And remember, the question from the intro video is, where's the radical sign? Well, I gotta make it a radical sign, so I have u to the 2nd power, and the 3 here tells me that's the index. Now the good thing is that this one already has an index of 3, so that would be just w to the 5th power here. And this would be my answer for B1. Let's go on to B2. Again, the nice thing is they all have a denominator of 2, so that's essentially the root. So I have x to the 1st power, y to the 3rd power, and z to the 7th power. There's a couple things you can clean up here. Is you don't need to write the 2 and you don't need to write the 1, so you would have something like this: x, y to the 3rd, that's a z to the 7th power, and this one would be your answer for B2. All right, let's look at B3. Now, you have to be very careful because this is called a factor. We actually learned about that last chapter. Why is it called a factor? Because it has these parentheses with a plus sign in the middle. Now, what that tells us to do is you cannot separate them, okay? So you kind of just leave it as a whole thing. So let's just say, I don't know, to help you, maybe you would just call it a box to the 3/4 power. Sounds kind of weird, right? And you have the box to the third power, and then the index, which is a 4. But what did we have as our box? Well, we had a plus b is our box. So this one is your answer. Let's go to B4. Okay. Super nice. They all have a denominator of 5. So that becomes my root, or my index. This is going to be f to the 4th power. And I have here g to the 1 power. And again, you don't have to write that one. So your answer is going to be root 5 radical f4 times g is my answer here. Box your answers. B5. Okay, pay attention now. This one, they have denominators that are different. So what am I going to do? Well, the smallest or least common denominator, smallest common denominator is going to be a 4. So I'm going to multiply this one by 2 over 2. Why would I do that? Because if you multiply across here, you will get r to the 2/4, and you'll have s to the 3/4. Okay, 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. 1/2 is the same thing as 2/4, because if you reduced 2/4, you would get 1/2. Okay, so again, I have my 4's here. So this would be the index root of 4. Then I would just have r squared and then s to the 3rd power. Okay? And I'm going to box my answer for B5. Let's take a look at B6, if I can find it. Over here. Ooh, fraction. Okay. Same thing on this problem. Fractions, I like to, if you can, use a different color. And again, this one. Denominator 4, denominator 4. This one is a denominator of 2. How do I get a denominator 4? I'm going to use the lowest common multiple, so my denominators have to be the same. Lowest common denominator, or LCD, multiplied by 2 over 2. This would give us a 6 over 4, b 1/4, and c 5 over 4. Okay, because they all have a denominator 4, this is what you would have. You would have your root to be to the 4th power. There's my fraction line. And I can just go through a to the 6. B to the 1st power, which is just b, right? And this one would be c to the 5th power here. And this would be my answer for B6. Let's take a look at B7. Okay, nice. Index is the same. X to the 2nd. And y to the 6th. Remember, the question is, where's the radical? Well, I go from a rational exponent, a fractional exponent, to now putting it back with the radical sign. Box your answer. And the last one, whoa. Okay. So I noticed all of these have a denominator of 3, which becomes our index. Now this one does not. So I mentioned it in our intro video for a, I guess not in this one. To make this one a fraction, I'm going to make it 2 over 1. And I want all the denominators to be 3, so I can multiply any number times 1. And this will give me r to the multiply across, so get 6 over 3. Because 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, let's get that fraction line here. Remember, all the letters have to stay where they are. So I'm going to get r to the 6. S, let's use red. s to the second power. I got t to the first power, or just t. Remember, if there's no exponent, it's a 1, not a 0. And here I have u to the fourth power in the denominator. And this would be our answer for B8.
Mr. Math Ing. He's so good at teaching.